Fair Oaks Country Club. You know, cost $48 million at the time. They were the three partners were pulling out $1 million a month salary. Three of them, $1 million a month salary, whether they needed it or not. And they had a lawyer named, who's still alive, John Allen Chalk, and he was a first television Baptist minister on TV back in the late 50s. Turned lawyer, turned oil negotiator extraordinaire. And they had the legit guest house, when they used to bring investors in, just like the kind of guys you would salivate over. They'd bring investors in, and they had a 50,000 square foot house that had jacuzzis and running hot and cold bimbos that didn't do drugs. And it was in the middle of the Fair Oaks Country Club. And they had Rolls Royce, not Rolls Royce, but just real Rolls Royce golf carts that was made by Rolls Royce. If a man can't stand up in his fucking plane, he's not much of a fucking man. You fucking build it and we'll fucking buy it. No matter how much goddamn money you can raise from them limey cocksuckers, we can fucking drill it. Them were the days. And that's why I had that opportunity. God love him. God love him. But not, and that's why you get a track record, and that's why Heiko left. That's why Heiko left. And my personality fit great with the Texas guys. Because they all talk like me. I still remember being in those days they used to have the diamond studded and ruby Rolex watches. You know, the garish and fucking gaudy and no class whatsoever. These watches and freaking big diamond rings and shit all over. And a string tie, you know, like cowboys wearing string ties and their fucking boots. And we come to Houston. We'd come to London, and we'd be sitting in Warburg's conference room, big boardroom, and one of the guys would say, Rupert Ford Walker was the head of corporate finance in those days. And he said, John there, he was my fag at Eton. Fag. In America, that means homosexual guy that sucks dicks. Fag at Eton. And he said, no, I was his fag at Eton, but now I'm senior to him. And the Texas guys that night at dinner are saying, Dan, what's this shit about he was his fag at Eton? First of all, they never heard of Eton. And they said, that means he got him cigarettes. Fags is cigarette. He was the runner to go. You know. And these Texas guys just fucking. I was their interpreter, just kind of like Stefan's my interpreter. With you guys, I was their interpreter, and I said, no, these guys are good guys. We can get the deals done. We can raise a lot of fucking money, find a lot of grease. And then Bob Dyke, who wasn't from Texas, he would say. He says he never was in Texas in the oil business, so these guys were a little rough for Bob. But he found the North Sea, so everybody was very respectful of him. You know, you find the North Sea, everybody has a lot of respect for you. Great Western sponsored that deal when he found. No. He found the North Sea before me. I wish to God. I mean, life would be a different story now. I would have made some real serious money if we had found the North Sea. But Bob Dyke. So I mean, when you're hanging around people like that, good shit happens by accident. You know, not when you got some dope fiend addict pimp that you got to escort out of the bathroom in a fucking discotheque. You know, you got cocaine powder. It's cocaine a powder? Anyway, you got powder because I always say that's cocaine, right? Like this in the movies. Okay, when they got that powder all over you, I bet you if we took samples from his clothes, from the shit, you know, whether or not that you do drugs, but I mean just from the your nightclub, from all these, you know, these low life pervert fucks that are doing drugs in there. But that's why you are who you hang around with. And I keep telling my kids this: you're better off at an Eastern school. You're better off at an Eastern school. Eastern U.S.? Eastern U.S. Become an Eastern elitist. So, you know, Both of my kids two of my three kids went to Eastern schools. And my daughter is an Eastern elitist. She's a snob now. I didn't want her to be a snob towards me, but that's how it turned out. She says, Boston is where the intellect, this is where our country started, Daddy. I can't believe it. Oh, Daddy, that's so Neanderthal, please. I have to go now. You're a whack.
When you negotiate with somebody who wants to retire, do you hear any specific numbers or specific multiple of their salaries or anything like that?
No, they back up. They say some financial planning program on the internet has told them, let me see, I want 250,000 euros a year. How much money do I have invested at $250,000 a year? And at current interest rates, I mean, you got to have a lot of goddamn money for $250,000 a year. So, I mean, their business can't hardly be worth that. Can't. 5 years ago, you could invest, $15 million. I don't know what the number is to get $250 million a year. But now, you got to have a lot of money. So, but that used to be the norm. And everybody, basically everybody wants 250,000 euros a year, tax-free. They figure they can live on 20,000 a month. That's what they normally think when they retire. Because they've got their house in Switzerland paid for, they've got their ski lodge in Vail, Colorado paid for. They got everything paid for, And then when they think about it, after they retire 2 years, they realize they need $1 million a year. After they retire a year or two.
Do you ever turn it around and say, okay, fine, I don't pay you any purchase price, I pay you $250,000 at the end of your time?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've gotten away with a couple of those. But normally then they talk to their lawyer, they talk to their accountant, and they said, okay, can you put that in an annuity, an insurance policy or whatever? And then to buy that income, I mean, it costs too much money. It costs too much money. Okay. Specific answer, your business is worth between 3 and 10 times current annual post-tax profits, depending on the industry, business, and many other factors. 3 to 10. If you have a law practice, you've got a dental practice, you've got doctor's practice, normally 1 to 1.5 times year's cash flow. 1 to 1.5 times. I've sold dental practices, I've sold accounting practices. I've never really sold a law practice. I've negotiated to buy a law practice, but I've never sold one. 1 to 1.5 times yearly cash flow. And they want you out the door. Get the fuck out. And they think, well, we're really good. We can milk Stefan's clients better than he did. That's what they think. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes Stefan sells, they all leave. They don't know that. They always think. And Stefan tells them, oh, I'm sure that most of them will stay. They're going to stay, yada yada. And I don't think I'm going to practice anymore. I'm just going to sit back and play chess or whatever the hell. And then he moves from Guernsey to Jersey and sets up practice again. And then everybody's screwed. You operate in a cyclical economy and market, try to sell in an up way. I used to tell people, nobody listened to me 5 or 6 or 8 years ago, if you're over 40 years old, I'd sell my business. Because we were in up wave up until just a couple years ago. 2-3 years. But nobody wants to sell leaving any meat on the bones. Everybody wants to sell. Now people want to sell. Of course, now the business isn't worth as much. And we may not get back to 14 or 15,000 on the stock market for a while, even though the market has made a huge increase. And I'm just using it as one benchmark because the stock market is a leading indicator. We may not get there for a while. But I know a lot of people that wishes they had sold in February 2008, I had a big meeting of a bunch of guys I'm in business with, in conjunction with Castle Seminar, and in April of 2005, I told them both at the same time, if I were over 40 years old, You ought to change industries anyway, guys. If I were 40, over 40, I'd sell. Now that's 2005 and 2008, now we're 2010. Nobody sold, and all their businesses are worth significantly less. Significantly less, with the prospect of not ever going back to that level. And they will never forget that level. Never. If you paid $521 for IBM, which I think pre-splits and all that's just the highest you could ever pay for it, you can never forget $521. Ever. It is in concrete in your head, in your little pea brain.
Are you acting like this as well? Are
What?
you emotional about the level at which you bought something?
No, because I normally don't. I normally don't sell anything because I'm just rolling stuff. I buy something and I've sold things at losses because if something starts to become too time consuming to me, exit. Adios, motherfucker. I'm out of there because time is the most precious commodity I have, as I've told you 1,000 times already in the last week, and it's the only thing I can't make more of. And I'm running out of runway. I know that. I'm running out of runway. But I plan on working until I drop dead. I don't plan on ever, I may work less and less as I get older and older, but I'm pretty goddamn fit for almost 65 years old. Not many people that 65 that look and sound like me. And I've slowed down a little. Not much, but a little. Remember, timing is everything, yep. Sellers and their representatives invariably present financial projections having more entertainment value than educational value. Warren Buffett. The numbers that they put down, it's hard for me to look at financial numbers at this stage of my life. It just is. Because they're all bullshit. They're all bullshit. And Warren Buffett doesn't look at those numbers. He looks footnotes, balance sheets, income statements. He looks at the mega trends. One of the things that was nice about being involved with Siemens for those 10 years is I got to see some of the mega trend studies in which way the world is going.
Who commissioned those? Siemens commissioned those.
No, Siemens paid for them. They paid people like McKinsey and Boston Consulting and a lot of money, but Siemens isn't the only person that did mega trends. But it's going back towards in the 25th century. We're all going to live in big cities. We're not going to be living in the countryside. There won't be any Passau. Munich will just be from Passau to whatever the fuck, 400 meters, a couple of meters the other side. There won't be any small cities. It's going to be all mega cities. And China's already that way. China's got 10 or 20 cities with 10 million or more people. I think it's 20, I think it's 40, I don't remember now. But I know Shanghai's got 30 plus million. That's the way the world's going. And some people are making big bets on that. Just like the big smart money has been making big bets on water for 30, 40 years, buying up water rights in the United States. That's the next that's the shortage. And we already see it. We already see it. Water, this is more than the $4 a gallon that we pay for gasoline in America. This is like $12 or $14 a gallon bottled water, which is a scam in and of itself. A big scam. And now they come out with the studies that plastic bottles all kill you, no matter what the plastic bottle is. It's a huge market. It's just like cars every year. You need a car every year. It's a huge scam. Plastic, bottle, any kind of bottled water. Unless you're in China or in the Philippines where the water is shit. In China you can't drink it at all. In the Philippines you drink it and it turns your teeth brown. But it doesn't kill you. But it turns your teeth brown.
In India it'll put you to bed for 3 days.
Yeah, well, when I lived there for 3 years with Sally, I never got sick from the food and never got sick from the water, but everybody else that ever visited is dead. Step 7, start, buy a business, build, puff it up, sell the business, repeat this process, and you will make tens of, even hundreds of millions. There is no other legal way which does not rely on luck. And the young guys in the room can do this 4, 5, 6 times. Some of the older guys can only do it a couple. because the 3 or 4 or 5 year cycles turn into 7 year cycles. I've done it a few times. But now I didn't start doing it until I was in my middle 30s. So, because the first 10 years of my career I was on Wall Street, Bear Stearns, etc. And then I got out, and then I started, I worked for another entrepreneur, and we founded 1 or 2 companies, and then since 1982 I've been on my own, more or less, for 28 years. That's the name of the game. That's what the program is. Pretty simple.